Hey, what's up, guys? Little man with a big opinion here. This is just my little bit of advice for you. Uh, it's something that I have been very passionate about doing, and thankfully, my mom works at a store that can make it happen quicker for me. I'm gonna go see her early May, and I will be getting 2 peach trees, 2 apple trees, and 1 pear tree. I'll admit I was a little uh, uneducated on the matter. I've shown in my videos in the past me planting the pear tree at my house, and I learned very quickly later on that your trees do much better if they're able to cross-pollinate. You do a little bit of living and learning. So if you have the space to plant trees, then you should, at the very least, do it in pairs. It's fairly inexpensive thing to do. My pear tree cost me $35 to get, and it was about a 5-foot tree. It was roughly my height, and we're going on year 2 of having said tree, and I still have 2 or 3 years to go before it can possibly start producing fruit. The pear trees are a similar situation where it can be 3 to 5 years before they start to produce fruit. And the apple trees take much longer. They can be anywhere from 10 to 15 before they start to produce any type of fruit. Where I live, all 3 of those trees do fairly well. I will end up getting 2 orange trees as well, but I'll have to doctor them a lot more because you really want those trees to, get a good strong footing. And I'm already past the point in the year where I can put in orange trees. If you live anywhere in the south like I do, you want to plant these trees after your last freeze, but at least a month before your days start to get in the 90s. If your days are in the 90s and you do decide to plant most trees, you want them to be much more mature. You want them to have at least a month of getting acclimated to, your soil and, the temperature range where you're at. That way they don't die. It's just like, planting unmature trees during the winter time where it freezes. You run the risk of your trees dying through that as well. So we'll have 6 trees, and from the 6 trees, it will probably be into my 30s before they start to produce any fruit. On a side note, they do increase the value of the home. Some people are turned off of the idea of having fruit-bearing trees. It's not very many, and the more and more I see going on in our world today, it really makes me think even more people will like the idea of having fruit trees. Not that I actually plan on selling the house that I'm in, probably ever, unless something really drastic happens. But that's my advice for you. I definitely think as preppers, you should be moving closer and closer to some level of self-sustainability. Having something that you can barter and trade with is going to be extremely useful. And even thinking, something happens where we get thrown back several hundred years and we don't even have electricity or anything like that. Sun drying the fruit, it'll last 2 or 3 years, so you don't have to consume it all as it becomes ripe. If I had more space, I'm thinking I have enough room to do up to 10 trees, and then after that I'm out of room where I'm at, and I'll start planting the trees out at the farm area where my family's got 70-ish acres, and we'll be able to plant much more out there. But if you live in the South, I think next week we've got a couple of days in the 50s, or the nights in the 50s. The days are in the low 70s. You go much further south, and you probably already have days in the 80s. I don't really pay attention to the weather for people higher than Northeast Texas. I know there still are some days out there that you could be below freezing, but it is the perfect time to start planting the trees, getting the gardens going, and hopefully this is the kick or push that you need to make that happen. That being said, let me know in the comment section down below what, if anything, you are doing. It'd be nice to hear from y'all. You can also ask me questions and I'll answer them in videos for y'all. And other than that, like the video if you enjoy this discussion. Subscribe if you enjoy the channel, you're learning something, you're motivated. I'm helping you out in some way. And lastly, share the show with a friend or family member that would benefit from these discussions. And with that, I'll catch you in the next one.